Fox News alert. Potential major breakthrough in the manhunt for Brian Laundrie. The FBI confirming that they have what appears to be human remains at Florida Wilderness Park, along with personal items belonging to Laundrie. Laura Ingle is in Gabby Petito's hometown of Blue Point, New York, with the latest. Laura?
Hey, Greg. Well, no confirmation. I think a lot of people were really hoping to hear the FBI say something about who these human remains belong to, but we did not get that in that press conference that happened just moments ago. But the FBI certainly giving us a significant update in the search for Brian Laundrie. And one other thing that we want to point out that caught our ear in that press conference was that they said that Brian Laundrie was a person of interest in the murder of Gabby Petito. They've never used that language before. Still, the FBI holding this news conference about the human remains that were found today. Listen.
Earlier today, investigators found what appears to be human remains, along with personal items, such as a backpack and notebook belonging to Brian Laundrie. These items were found in an area that up until recently had been underwater.
So Fox News Digital catching Chris and Roberta Laundrie at the park earlier today where the search activity had heated up. A search team member could be overheard telling Laundrie's parents they might have found something. Now, this is the same area where Brian Laundrie's parents told police he had gone for a hike September 13th, then reported him missing after he did not return to their Northport, Florida home for several days. Cadaver dogs, a coroner's van, and investigators seen all around this one section of the Carlton Reserve today. The FBI announcing that the area will once again be closed to the public after it was just reopened to the public yesterday. Now, I reached out to the family of Gabby Petito and their attorney, who tell me that the Petito-Schmidt family will not be making a comment today, and they do not have plans to do so in the near future. We've been standing here today in Blue Point, as you mentioned, Gabby Petito's hometown. We've seen people come and pay their respects. A lot of people are still waiting for answers, as we all do, from the FBI.
Thanks, Laura. We're going to take it around the table. I have the first question. The Laundrie parents decided to help with the investigation last night. Surprise, surprise, they find the body the next day. I'm assuming it's him. Did they know where he was the whole time? And number two, is it possible they made a deal to help find the body so they wouldn't be charged?
A lot of people wondering exactly what the activity was with Chris and Roberta Laundrie. That is a key question. And of course, that time frame, they just said, you know, we're done searching this area. We're going to wrap it up. We're going to open it up, take down that yellow tape and let the public come in. And then we have this development today. But of course, the FBI has been extremely tight-lipped, as all the investigators are on this case. And as you've been seeing, Chris and Brian Laundrie as well, not really giving a lot to members of the media.
Laura, it's Dana. Oh, you know, about 2 weeks ago, Mr. Laundrie joined the search, if you remember that.
Right.
And so did they, I mean, you probably don't know the answer to this, but I would be curious if they went to this spot.
Well, these investigators asked Chris Laundrie to take them to trailheads and areas that they would know that Brian had been to before. You know, show us around. What did he like to do? And we weren't sure what that all meant. And when we saw Chris Laundrie go in on that golf cart being, you know, zinging around with investigators, we weren't sure what to make of it. Did he point them in this direction? We've been hearing a lot about the water levels that have gone down in just the 24 hours that led the investigators to this discovery today. Again, a backpack and a notebook believed to be Brian Laundrie's found near these human remains. Again, they're not making an identification at this point. Dana.
Laura, Katie Pavlich here. Wanted to ask you about kind of this timeline and the excruciating waiting that the family and her friends in her hometown have been going through. Gabby Petito was reported missing by her family on September 11th. It's now October 20th. So can you talk about what you're seeing and what people are looking for in terms of trying to at least get some closure here?
Yeah, you know, we were here just 2 weeks ago interviewing the four parents of Gabby Petito, her mother, Nicole, and stepfather, Jim, who live here in Blue Point, her father, Joe, who lives in Florida, along with his wife, Tara. We interviewed all four of them, and the one consistent thing they said was that they were really hoping that Brian Laundrie, and still hoping that Brian Laundrie would be found alive. They have questions. They want to know what happened on that cross-country road trip in Wyoming. They want answers, and not only that, of course, if he is found to be responsible, they want justice for Gabby.
Jesse, I know you don't have a question, but you have a thought.
My thought is the parents are guilty as sin, and they're involved in a conspiracy to cover up their culpability in this case. The guy comes home without his fiancée, and the parents take him camping. And on the camping trip, on the way back, they go buy cell phones. They all go buy cell phones. Now, the cops looked at the cell phones. They didn't have any evidence on them, but did they also buy burner phones? Did they buy a solar charger? Because it appears like the parents were in communication with this guy, Brian, possibly with the burner phones through the attorney. The attorney's a dirty attorney. He's crooked, obviously. And if the Brian guy calls the attorney then tells the parents what's going on with Brian. It's privileged, confidential information. You can't tap it, can't even ask any questions about it. So maybe they don't hear from Brian for a while. Maybe he's out there, and it just so happens you nailed it, Greg. The one time both parents go out looking, they happen to stumble upon personal items. We're hearing that probably was a gator that got dirty laundry in that little swamp. We don't know yet. We're going to wait to see. But they could hit him with a slew of charges, the parents here. You have accessory after the fact. This murder committed on federal land. You heard them use the word murder now. That is, whoever, knowing that an offense against the United States has been committed, receives, relieves, comforts, or assists the offender in order to hinder or prevent his apprehension, trial, or punishment. Your accessory after the fact, that's in a murder case, that's 15 years right there. You could do harboring. You could do obstruction if they destroyed any evidence, aiding and abetting, accessory to unlawful flight. I would lean so hard on these parents. It's obviously they know something and they've been hiding it. And the family of Gabby deserves justice. And if that's what justice means, so be it.
Harold, what are your thoughts?
Just one question for Laura, if she's still there. Harold Ford, Laura, are there any other persons of interest? The only person that we've heard just publicly consuming this awful, awful story is that Brian Laundrie was the person of interest. Are there any other leads or people that the FBI or any law enforcement might be targeting or might have targeted?
Yeah, no, they have only said that Brian Laundrie was a person of interest. And I do want to note that in today's press conference and all throughout this investigation, agents have repeatedly said they still want people to come forward. You may hear this news today and say, well, there was remains that were found in Florida. They're still looking for people to come forward. You know, we've heard about all these witnesses that saw the couple fight, Brian and Gabby, along the way of their summer trip. They're still looking for more information if anybody saw anything to come forward and help them kind of piece this all together. But to answer your question, no other persons of interest have been identified.
Thanks, Laura. Great job.